Every journey has its highs and lows, and whether you're returning to a game or deciding to jump into it for the very first time, it can be a difficult choice, especially when that game requires time and dedication to navigate its many complex systems. And we all know that the most valuable currency out there is of course your time, so you're going to want to spend it wisely. Warframe, like a lot of shooters, is no different. It fits that bill entirely. It is time consuming. So today I wanted to explore the pros and cons of a game that I've played for 10 years. Warframe is an amazing game with an incredible community, but it isn't without its fair share of challenges that a lot of new players and returning players fail to overcome and end up dropping the game as a result. So let's just jump in and talk about the good and the bad of Warframe. Feel free to let me know in the comments section below what you believe to be your good and bad as well. Sharing your perspective could help new and returning players stick around a little bit longer. So first of all, let's go over the good, and then of course we will tackle the not so good. Warframe offers players an ever-changing universe with constant updates and a huge variety of missions that it has added to and kind of increased on year over year. Activities and options that will fit all types of different playstyles, something that a lot of veterans like myself kind of take a little bit for granted and have become a little bit numb to. Naturally, we don't see it through the eyes of a new player because it's been in front of us for such a long time, but Warframe's universe is massive. Its combat is, in my opinion, the best thing about the game. It's fluid, it's fast-paced, to the point where every shooter will feel slow in comparison after you've spent some time in Warframe. Admit it, Tenno, you've tried to bullet jump in other games, and as a result you may have fallen to your death. It's okay, it happens. Warframe's gameplay is great, with up to 52, soon to be 53 Warframes to choose from, each with their own ability sets and playstyles for you to enjoy, from stealth Warframes to support to crowd control to tanks to damage dealing and so on. There is an option for absolutely everyone. Not to mention that the game has over 300 weapons for you to get your hands on as well that function in some of the most ridiculous ways imaginable. Now, visually, Warframe is stunning, but I've played it for so long that I've kind of taken that for granted. But whenever a new update hits and we find ourselves in one of the newly created environments, it honestly catches me off guard. And the audio team, without a doubt, for Warframe have knocked it out of the park, update after update after update. Warframe's storytelling, its lore is very grim dark, but it is also very, very good. At times it is, however, fragmented. The story quests are emotionally driven and will help you uncover the origins of who we are and the factions that we fight against, but it can be a little bit confusing, while also introducing you to some incredible characters along the way. But also the inner turmoil and the mystery that still surrounds our Warframes and our Tenno, and of course the universe that we live in. Some of my most memorable moments in Warframe have been these story-driven quests, and of course the shift in direction that the game then takes us on after that big reveal, leaving you to wonder what exactly is coming up next with the next big update. Now, Warframe's gameplay loop is also kind of whatever you want it to be, whether it's a pick-up, put-down style of play by running missions in between your work, your study, and of course your chores. You can do that if you want to. You can run endless missions, you can do eidolon hunts and speedruns, you can focus on your fashion, dojo decorations, the platinum trading market if you want to dip your toes in that. Endgame is basically whatever you make it, and don't let anyone tell you otherwise. Just sit back and do your own thing. It is a free-to-play game after all. Now, with that being said, with Warframe being a free-to-play game, there is also the fear of microtransactions. Will this game be pay to win? Will it hurt my experience by not spending real money? And the answer is simply a flat out no. While Warframe offers microtransactions as a choice for a lot of things, the game can be fully enjoyed without spending a single penny. The majority of Warframe's content can be earned simply by playing the game. Now, its free-to-play model is one of the fairest in the industry, to the point where other games are actually trying to replicate it. And on top of that, you can trade items with other players in-game for that real money currency, so again, you don't have to spend anything. You can still earn those cosmetics by trading with other players. Now, if I've missed out on any good points, then let me know in the comment section below. Anything that maybe you feel needs to be mentioned to a new player to let them know just what they're missing out on. Like maybe the community, I guess. You guys are one of the friendliest out there. Yes, communities have dipshits, but then again, what community doesn't? But Warframe's community is incredibly helpful. To the point, actually, sometimes it can be a little bit too helpful. Which brings us to the bad, and up until this point I guess the video has just sounded like one big advertisement for Warframe, but like I said, it isn't without its challenges. Warframe has a severe lack of hand-holding. It also has a pretty steep learning curve for new players, and while its new player experience has changed over its 10-year lifespan with added tutorials or codex entries to point new players in the right direction, it could still be much better. As new players, you will have many complex systems tossed in front of you that will be daunting, from modding warframes and weapons in general, to applying forma to elemental damage types to companions, and more importantly, where to go next in the star chart. Where are you going to go to gather this resource? How do you farm this weapon or this warframe, and so on. You're going to have to find a lot of this stuff out for yourself. As a new player, it's going to be up to you to take your time, explore the star chart, experiment with builds within reason, don't go adding forma when you don't know what they are, and if you need to then ask anyone in the community for help, then do it, because more than likely they will help you. But lack of clear objectives and heavy reliance on external websites like the wiki can be overwhelming for new players. Coming to terms with the need for a wiki to teach you how to play a game for some players is almost an instant no. All of these systems in Warframe take time to fully understand, and as a result, it can leave new players feeling lost and overwhelmed when everything is kind of thrown at them all at once. Now, Warframe at its core is a grind-heavy game. You will need to spend a lot of time grinding resources while also praying to the RNG gods that you get the mods you need to increase your power, while also praying that the warframe and weapon parts that you're looking for will actually drop. This again can leave the game feeling repetitive as you run the same missions continuously in hopes of getting the items that you want so badly. And while it's true that Warframe's end game, like I said earlier, is whatever you want it to be, endless missions, eidolons, fashion and so on, that repetitiveness will of course carry across heavily on that front as well. Warframe's lack of depth when it comes to a definitive endgame, like other similar games, Destiny as an example, which might have raids or dungeons, Warframe's raids were removed quite some time ago and more than likely will never return. So again, it doesn't have a definitive endgame cycle. While the main story quests in Warframe are incredibly well put together, story-wise, a lot of its lore is scattered in hard to find places like codex entries or fragments that you need to find in some of the open worlds. But stories like Loristan Tella, the Yuvan Tirtho, Garmy and his lighthouse, names that mean nothing to new players right now, are easily some of the game's best story pieces. However, you're going to have to read about them after you find them. Then we have the nerf mentality. Warframe has long had a balance and of course a power creep issue, which the power creep side of things, it's honestly embraced that a long time ago, but this can mean that warframes or weapons can be subject to nerfs months after the community has already dedicated a lot of its time and effort to max out the efficiency of those items, leaving them after the nerf in a much weaker state and causing a fair amount of community backlash as a result. This has happened a lot over the years. Some warframes and weapons are also significantly more powerful than others, which I'm kind of fine with, but again, it is a power fantasy game. Now, I kind of feel like I have to mention this point, but Warframe also still lacks cross-save, which is something that has stopped a lot of Warframe players from returning to the game because they no longer want to start a new account after switching from PC to console or from console back to PC and lose all of the progress that they made on their original account. So they're waiting for cross-save to hit. At the time of making this video, it still hasn't been added, which is a huge stumbling point, but they have promised at TennoCon this year they are going to announce hopefully a date for when that cross-save is going to be implemented. Now, there are other bad points worth talking about, like connectivity issues, since it is an always online game which requires an active internet connection. So if your internet speed is low or you don't have the best of internets, then you might not have the best of experiences with Warframe as well. So there you have it, right? Warframe in 2023 is still an amazing experience with constant updates, unique and powerful warframes and weapons, stunning visuals, engaging storytelling, and one of the best monetization models of any free-to-play game out there. However, it is important to be aware of its steep learning curve, its heavy grind, RNG as well, lack of hand-holding, power creep and balance issues with some items, lack of cross-save, and of course those connectivity issues as well. You make your choice whether you want to jump into it or if you're a new player if you want to return to it. However, if you are up for a deep dive into an ever-evolving world full of grim dark storytelling and super powerful space ninjas, then jump in, make some friends and see where that journey takes you, or where that journey retakes you if you're a returning player. Have a great day, and as always, thanks for watching.